Greetings, programs. This is Let's Code a Full 90, where we take the next hour and a half, dig into some source code, and try to make our part of the world a little bit of a better place. I'm your host, Rob Benching, and today we're digging into the Wix toolset, which is what we've been doing the whole time. There are other things in the future, but for now we're going with the Wix toolset. We're going to be picking up where we left off last week, which is left in a broken state. And I'll just show you that right here, right now. We left all these red squiggles on the screen knowing that this was a problem that we had to solve. And had some ideas to solve it, so we'll talk about that in a minute. So what are we tackling? We're tackling the semantic versioning enhancements in the Wix toolset to handle, so that we can handle more arbitrary versioning of all the different kind of software that's out there, particularly in bundles. Although we started with a little bit of exploration in how far we could push the Windows installer, which only went so far, but it was a lot of fun. So trying to finish up now the bundle handling and getting all the version information correct in the bundles. And then there's a couple of things that we will need to mop up after that. So why don't we go ahead and try to get bundles done here now, and then go back and look at the other parts that we're going to have left over. So what are these red squiggles all about? Well, the issue is that this is the backend for the building burn bundles. You can see here when I open this up, we're over here in Wix toolset core burn. And when we did all that version work to implement the new Wix version concept, which is 4-part versions plus semantic versioning plus lots of random handling of other types of versions and being able to make some guesses as to how to interpret them, that's what Wix version is. A superset tries to be a superset of all the versioning semantics we've seen within some amount of reason. Anyway, that Wix version that we implemented is in Wix toolset.core, the core toolset. And the issue here is that, well, the bundle needs to be able to handle, wants to be able to parse this version and get all the pieces out of it and basically work with the Wix version concept the same way that the core does. But it's an internal implementation detail of the core, and things in the core are generally exposed to the backends via interfaces. But I've been thinking, as we've done this for a while, and I think I hinted it at the end of last stream, that maybe this Wix version concept is core, no pun intended, is important enough that we should promote it all the way to the top of the data stack of the Wix toolset, which would be Wix toolset.data. And the more I thought about it, the more I'm liking that idea, because the processing of Wix version in Burn is actually handled in dutil. And dutil is a native code library that has lots of APIs that we use to essentially make deployment related things on Windows work better. It's a fantastic library for doing all that stuff. Everything in the Wix toolset is built on that, including WCAUtil, which is a Windows custom action library that provides a lot of helper functions for building native custom actions, which we of course use extensively in the Wix toolset. So you can think of dutil as kind of the top of the data stack for Wix toolset's native code side, and Wix toolset.data is the top of the data stack for everything built on it. Or if you prefer a pyramid, I guess it would be the bottom. It's the foundation that everything's built on, whichever way you want to look at it. It's the thing that everything takes a dependency on because it has the base types in it. Now, one of the goals in general in the Wix toolset.data layer is to have mostly data, given its name, and not a lot of implementation, because changing things in that layer impacts everything above it. So having lots of code in there has more opportunities for more bugs for us to fix, which then means releasing the whole stack and everything above it. It has ripples effects everywhere above it. So keeping the code there to a minimum has advantages, which is why so much of the core tool set in Wix, all the heavy lifting is exposed as interfaces for backends to use, not as, hey, let's just push more and more functionality into data and share it across all the backends. No, we want to hide that. And we could do the same thing with Wix version. We could try basically put an interface over it and expose it to the backends out of the core. But the more I've thought about it, the more I'm like, I think we're just going to get in situations where this Wix version is going to show up more often. So I think it's probably worth putting in data, lifting it out of core and putting it in data. So if we go look at what that means, that is this code here. Go jump over to it. And we see when I sync this, we will be in the Wix toolset.core. I don't know if this is too small, or you can see it also appear in this window, Wix toolset.core. I can't make either one of those bigger. I should get the zoom tool. Anyway, it's in Wix toolset.core. So we could pick it up out of here, make it public, and expose it to, I'll get rid of that unused namespace, expose it through data. And I think given its utility across the space, that's what I want to do. I think that's where we're going to go with this. I mean, there's a bit of code, but we'll just lift a whole bunch of no, we'll just have to start building up a whole bunch of tests and data around it to help validate that it behaves the same as the code in DUtil. Essentially, this code lives in data that is analogous to the code that lives in DUtil, and they need to stay in sync anyway, so I guess we can keep them at the same level. All right, so the Wix version label is exposed. If you're going to move the parsing of the version, you have to be extremely confident we're not going to change the parsing for you. Yeah, I agree. We have to be confident, but it's not much different than changing the behavior of DUtil. DUtil will have the same sort of impact everywhere. So it's really, this has to stay in sync with DUtil. I think they're just peers. So what do we do here? I think we just got to move it. Now, I'm going to bring this back up over into code, because code has a quick way for me to jump around and everything. All right, source. Let's see, API, Wix toolset.data, and there's all these types that are in there today. And most of the code is in here around loading and, well, having the shape of the space and then loading such things, loading those data types like, you know, a Wix PDB and so on and so forth. Try not to version of data. You can change the URL without changing data. True. I don't. Yes, we could, but they need to stay in sync with the versioning. So I think it's going to be a big change either way to change the implementation of that parsing. It's essentially the versioning semantics of the Wix toolset that we're talking about. All right, so where was it? I think I put it in a subfolder because it was in extensibility services, which is kind of strange because it's not exposed to extensibility services. But it was only used previously by the interfaces that go through extensibility services. That's probably why it's here. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, because the alternative is that you have to get to Wix toolset.core, and then you can say, hey, give me a Wix version somehow. Parse a Wix version. And it feels too important for us to do that. I think it's just going to be, you're going to want to be able to operate on these lower level versions all the way to the bottom. I think that's just where we're going to get stuck. All right. So Wix toolset.extensibility, Wix version, copy or cut. And then I think I have to pick the folder here, paste. Now I'm in Wix toolset.data. Right? Yep, Wix toolset.data. I like this little breadcrumb. It's a nice way of doing that. Wix toolset.data. Public. And then this is public. You can move the data definition in the data and then require people that want to parse them to reference core and get an interface to parse it. But yeah, we could. But then you're still needing core in order to do anything really useful with Wix toolset with the Wix version. So it'd just be, hey, we have this thing, and we could make all the internal parts settable, and then you have to go get Wix toolset.core to write the parsing. So you have to go create a Wix toolset service provider and say, hey, from this, then I can get the thing that parses it. I think that pushes it too far into a space where it's not useful. I'm also thinking we're going to end up needing this type in some of our symbol versions at some point. And for them to load, then they'll need to be able to parse this if we're going to break it down like this. Although I guess we could say, hey, here's a string. Everywhere that there's Wix version is a string, and you have to go to Wix toolset.core to turn it into a type. But that just feels really strange. All of that feels like a really hard way to deal with this, to deal with Wix versions. Yeah, we can store versions as strings, but then if you want to interpret it, you have to go to Wix toolset.core to interpret something that is a Wix version. This is where I just keep getting stuck. It's the versions are such an important thing. Having to go all the way to core to get it feels so far away. And then if we did move it to core, then you'd pick your core version and you'd parse it differently. So based on which core you had, you would get the interface defined in data different ways. Which isn't much different than saying, here's data, and when we parse this version, you get parsed it the way that Wix toolset.data had it. It may be more interesting if we wanted to have, if we thought there were different ways of interpreting a Wix version. No, right, not wanting to use parts of core. Oh, well, yeah, there's lots around dealing with PDBs and things like that. Not in the core tool set, but there's a lot of stuff around that. Yeah, so I think this is where I'm going to start, and I may rue this day. I 100%. This is going to go one of two ways. I'm going to probably be, it's going to go one of three ways, which is all the ways it can go. It's going to be one, it didn't matter because it was fine and we didn't end up changing the version and we didn't end up use it. Two, it's going to turn into the, I'm really glad this is here because I had to interpret this versions quite a bit and it was great that it was in data, and I didn't have to go and find the Wix toolset.core to make things work. Or three, we're going to change it a lot and it's going to break everything. And I definitely hope it's not the third one, given this. So let's see. Will this do a refactoring? Because I don't think I want to have this here. Move type to, oh, yes, it does. Oh, very smart. Thank you. Now, did it do all of the header? And it did the header stuff for me. Yeah, that's pretty cool. That was slick. I'm very happy with code being able to do that refactoring. All right. So that's the same code as before. I'm going to have to pick up the unit tests. No, I think I can leave the unit tests because we're validating through the build. We're validating the use of the Wix version through the compiler and such like that. So I think that's fine. Bob thinks editor config is doing all the work. Maybe. I don't know. I think of code as such a lightweight editor, Bob, that every time it does something more advanced, I'm impressed. Maybe I shouldn't be. Should just be used to it by now, or I don't know. Still, it's nice. On the flip side, I expect Visual Studio to do all the things. So, yeah. Anyways, so we'll definitely need to bring over some tests for this that will now be able to test this triparse directly. So that's straightforward. With that in place, let's also now go and get our versions. So, or rather our error messages here. Cannot parse bundle as Wix version. This isn't error messages, but it's a very bundle specific thing. All right, let's go look real quick at the error messages in data. Error messages, please. Up, error messages. Let's see what we have. Bundle to new. Yeah, that's interesting. So I'm again debating how many of these things should be, how many of these errors should be here versus specific to the backend where it can have its own set of error messages, and we don't have to continue to push error messages into data that are not general parts, not general purpose usage. Yes, that's missing bundle information. Yes. Really? Oh my goodness. Although maybe that's true. Yeah, this is not a great error message. Sorry, I got distracted by a reference to product that really should be package. Those are the top level element names. All right, quick detour while we see this. Reference to product instead of package, and patch creation. Right? Patch creation. Is it just patch creation? I always forget. Patch creation. Product instead of package, because product is now package, and patch creation, which is gone. All right, so back to error messages. Looking for all the references to bundles. Yeah, okay, so I don't know that we need to put this in the global world of error messages. And I think, let's see, we should already have the burn backend. Oh, that's inside bundles. Yeah, burn backend errors. So yeah, I think we can just add these error messages. Instead of making these error messages, we're going to make them burn backend errors. So now they're isolated just to this assembly instead of adding more and more stuff to data. Where instead we really just need to go through and push that down. All right. Okay. And what is Core upset about? Core is upset that Wix version no longer exists because I moved it, picked it up and threw it away. No, picked it up and put it somewhere else. All right, so with that in place, let's go back and rebuild real quick. Do I want to do this one? No, I do not, because I would get rid of those two files that I just added. All right, RD. No, yes, that time. Let's go ahead and build that. Okay. So that's rolling along, rebuilding our data layer and the Wix layer in one big go. Okay. All right. So then I think we're gonna have to stare and write some Wix bundle error messages. Error message strings. Come up with good words. Proper English, proper grammar, those kinds of things. So there's this, watching other streams, there's all these people that joke about not doing math on the stream because it never works for some reason. Your brain's too, interesting. Is not CLS compliant. I didn't know that I cared about being CLS compliant. It is not. Huh. CS compliant, true. We do set it. Do we have anything else that is class ID? CLSC compliant false. Yeah, okay. We have a couple other cases where we have UNs. I would think so. I don't even know. Like nobody talks about CS compliant anymore. Wix toolset core properties. Oh, okay, core is not compliant. Data is, except for some of these things. Well, those are uints. We allow really big numbers. Having them be nullable is different from DUL anyway. They're always defaulted to 0 there. Oh, they're always defaulted to 0. How do you know then if they weren't specified? Indeed, you can't tell if they're not specified in DUL. Oh, well, that's not. Although in native code, it's not as much. It's not like you have a nullable type that you can just throw on there. So, interesting. 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 It's not something it needs to know. It's interesting. All right. Well, uint is going to be the big problem here to start. So we will go ahead and let that roll through compliance. And where was I? The doing math on stream is challenging. I think writing solid English error messages I've also found to be, I mean, it's hard. What? Oh, label. Of course, the label. Ugh. The label had a uint in it too. Yeah, of course. Duh. Oh, wait. CLS compliant requires what system? Yeah, so. Stop. There we go. All right. So yeah, writing solid error messages is a challenge. Just thinking about all the things going through. I guess talking through them. All right. Well, that code's just rolling. And I'm waiting here for at least a couple of layers to build. So then let's see. So when we have Wix version here, then we go use it over in the back end. And then we have one more problem to solve in the back end, which is actually a mystery of the version resource layout that we're gonna have to go do some experimentation on. So the code, one of the error messages we have left behind that I'm gonna bring up next was setting the file version info to the 4-part version that we parse out of this. And then it sets the product version. And I thought the product version, the version resource info, was only a string, but it looks like there is a representation for a 4-part version, at least in the way that DTF is exposing it. So I don't know if that's DTF doing that, or if there's like a separate spot for where the numeric product version is stored separate from the string product version, or what the story is there. So we'll do a little bit of experimentation to see what kind of exes we get out of the build, playing with all these different numbers, and what Windows Explorer will show when we look at the details of the exe. So that'll be a little bit of experimentation to do, because I'm not exactly sure what this thing is doing. I don't know if it's redundant information or if it really is stored separately in the version information or whatnot. So let's go get that build up. Let's code. All right. And this, and it's going to tell me that, hey, this doesn't exist because it's missing data, I expect. Loading suggestions. Nope. Nope. Huh. Oh no, there it is. I just need a second to catch up, I guess. All right, what did I do wrong? Core is not, does not exist in this context. Oh, I see. It didn't get past. Wait. What did I do wrong? Wix version is part of Wix toolset.data. What did I do too fast and miss? Public class, Wix toolset.data, Wix version. Oh. I have to fix this. I have to fix this problem. I don't want to spend problem time on this, but I have to fix this problem because this is now. It's caught me again. The stupid cached packages. I didn't clean. Oh, what am I doing? No wonder. Sorry. Hangovers from. It's running the wrong clean. I was running just the local clean instead of the global clean. All right. I really want to spend time on that. No, I don't want to spend time. I need to spend time on it. Of fixing the build, so when you build across the layers, it just works instead of this mess I always do. Switching projects too much here. So in other news, I've been spending all my time packing, getting ready to leave. I will be gone for the first time and for like about a week, but I will be back, hopefully back by next Wednesday. And I will be back by next Wednesday, but hopefully in time to run the stream. So I expect everything's gonna look normal, but I'm gonna be like disconnected for a whole 6 days. All that, but of course it means lots of running around before you get going to make sure that everything can exist without you being present for 6 days, trying to minimize the amount of getting sucked back into things. Anyway, so that's been a lot of random things I've been doing between last week and this week. And thank goodness for my wife, who is the master packer. Can just be like, she finds the whole thing, and then I just carry it. Whatever she packs, I just carry the bag. It's all good. All right. So hopefully this time I got everything in the build process right, and we're doing this up. And maybe one of these days, one of these weeks, we'll spend time and show what the build, so we could clean per layer, when you could just build one layer and have it clean everything up and have everything else depend on it after that, be able to build. All right. Yay, that's much better. The name Wix version that is in the current. Well, let's go look at that now. We're back in core, where we expect things to be failing. Whoops, did I write the right one? I didn't look close enough. I have two. Yeah, I think I got the right one. Yes, all right. Okay. Out. Far. Now you'll be happier. Okay, that was part of it. Cannot convert from uint to int. Interesting. Right. So that's these checks here are making sure that if it's greater than a uint 16 max value. It's really uint 16. What a strange way of choosing to write that. Okay. So I guess that just means we should be able to cast these guys down, since this error check above validates them, that they'll fit in there. All right, then we need to add these two versions to get things building here. And then that will leave this thing we need to talk about. All right, let's go ahead and create these error messages, even if I don't know, what to call them. What is it? It cannot parse. Copy an existing one. We have source line numbers. Cannot parse bundle version as Wix version. Oh, cache ID, package ID. All right, well, all right, I will need to come up with bundle symbol version. I don't know why I need bundle in here, because it used to say module. All right, cannot parse bundle version as module, and we will put the version here, string version. All right, that's happy. Cannot parse bundle as 4-part version. There. Okay, cannot parse as 4-part version. This, that, and it's the same thing. Show the version number. that. Okay. This actually, though. I feel like we had an error message for cannot parse as 4-part version. Now that I've said I'm going to put this here, let's look at error messages. 4-part. Oh, there it is. Illegal version value. Or, yeah, that's not the one we want anyway, because that says more. I want one just for 4-part. All right, cool. We do not have one that's generically just cannot parse yada yada as 4-part version. All right. This is so hard. Parse as, oh no, this one though, we do have, this is what I was just looking at. Right, illegal version value. Yes, we already had this. And we knew this element in the attribute. Okay, so maybe I didn't need all of those. Because this one is, that says a invalid version. And this is the bundle version. And this is error messages. Yes, there we go. That attribute is not a valid version. Specify a 4-part version such as that, or that. Now, as I do that, that's true. It says we can't parse it as a version, but we actually are then going to turn around and try to parse it as a 4-part version. If it's an illegal version, maybe I should just say, you know what? We're going to want you to make it a 4-part version. Why don't we just tell you that before that? Yeah, I think that's probably the right thing to say. We don't want to say, hey, you could put a semantic version here and then turn around, you fix it, and then you come back down here from, you put gobbledygook in the Wix bundle version, and usually through a bind variable to sneak past the compiler, get down in here, the back end. So you fix your loc variable or whatever you're doing to get gobbledygook out of it to pass this thing, and then immediately it says that this thing, now it has to be a 4-part version. We might as well tell you up the front that it's going to have to be a 4-part version instead of telling you, hey, it's not quite a version, and then it's being more explicit being a 4-part version. So let's spit out the 4-part version the first time. So let's see, where am I at? If I want to say, see English, what am I doing here? Display an error message indicating that we require a 4-part version number, that we will require a 4-part, I don't even know, is it 4-part, 4-part? I don't know, 4-part version number, not just Wix version. Is it this 4-part? I don't know why that looks better. Bob will probably tell me, nah, hyphen, no hyphen. I'm just gonna tell me it's the special hyphen that I never can remember. All right, and then that, and then cannot parse the bundle version as a 4-part version. Boom, there we go. Great, now we're down to still only needing one. Cannot parse bundle version as 4-part version. Must be able to be used as a 4-part version. Actually, actually, as I think about it more, this is going to work. Because if you follow this syntax, then, or this syntax, any valid semantic version, we will get our 4-part version, or 3-part is fine. We'll just put zeros for, we make zeros for everything else to make it a 4-part version, kind of like what DUDL does. Yeah, so this error message will do just fine. Because if they pass either of these types, then we are good to go. All right. Ah, that's even better. Now I don't have to try to come up with another string. Yay, and I don't have to take a number and all that kind of stuff. All right, long way around. This is the part that's like, yeah, don't do this part on stream. Yeah, okay, anyway. All right, bundle version is the offender. And this is an error messages, thank you. There we go. Oh no, dang it. See, every time I do this, this is not talking about the max numbers. What does that mean, though? So if you can't, I guess this says that while Wix version will allow you to have whatever trillion number in the major minor build revision, because it does the whole, I don't know, is it D word 64 each, whatever it is, at the top. Even though you can have really large numbers for a major minor version, when you put it into a 4-part version, you still only get the 65535 space. So that's the 4-part version. So a bundle version ends up getting limited to a normal version. It cannot have ginormous numbers, but you could use some other versioning semantic that does use gigantic numbers, and Burn, when processing those packages elsewhere, will be able to handle it. Even though when you build a bundle, we're still limited to the 4-part versions from Windows. If we want to set the version of the bundle here. So if this was optional, yeah, so if we go up here, Windows assembly version, it's used here. Is it used in this? It is used in generate application manifest. Where is it used in here? The bundle assembly version. What's the bundle assembly version? It's just being written. Oh, it's being written into that manifest. Gotcha. Yeah, the Fusion manifest. Okay, so that should be the same as the file version. All right, so if we can't parse the bundle version, I mean, we could default it to zeros or something, or I guess the max. If it's greater than any of those numbers, then max it out. I guess we could do that. I don't know if it's a good idea. So what I'm debating here is, if these numbers are larger than that value, essentially max this. Yeah, that. That way you can build, you can have your version, and if you don't care about the version resource, then everything's fine. Which I think we should not let slide silently. So we'd want to say this dot messaging, oh, it's static. Not anymore. This dot messaging dot write. And then we would take my error message back. Add the ability for a different version from the file version, so it can be specified differently from the bundle version. Ugh, could do that. I mean, that would be super duper friendly for something that I don't know that happens. I mean, this is all ultra paranoia here. So then, oops. Just kind of thinking through this as I mechanically do these things. Yeah, I mean, I wonder if that would do it. I wonder if that's better. So then we come here, bring this. Whoop. Oh, did I'm gonna say cannot. Doesn't. I don't need to do that. Yeah. What am I missing something? Bandit warnings cannot. All right. I don't know why you're upset. There is no argument corresponds to formal version. Oh. Sorry. My bad. I forgot the source line numbers. There, now they're not blocked. And if we ever hit this, we can come back and look at adding a functionality to this, but I mean, yeah, it's not likely. I mean, okay. Okay, that's a 4-part version. Was not able to be used as a 4-part version. All right. I'm gonna go back to my other error messages and try to use some syntax that's similar. It's not a valid 4-part version, such as, I don't even know if that's good. It's not a valid 4-part version. All right. It's not able to be used as a valid 4-part version. The valid 4-part version looks like where each part is not greater than 6.535. What's the syntax I've used around this before? No. Oh, interesting. Invalid module. This is an error message though. All right, invalid this. Version, oh, it has a max value and must be all numeric. Okay, fine. Let's do this. I like that syntax. I like that better. Valid port version has a max value of that, and must be all numeric. There, that's much more concise than what I was saying. There we go. Bob probably wrote that one. 8504. Okay. All right. Wow. Okay, so that's kind of good. Now let's go back and say this. Okay, fine. Yep, add this. We do that. Okay, so now we will get back a version so we can try to push through more of this. Yeah. All right, so we'll get an error message and then we'll try to push through, have as many error messages SOAP as possible. I don't know what I get with that. I know I can do that though. I'm tempted to put some numbers in there, but 0, 0 is probably good. Generate that. And then we get to, oh, yeah. All right, cool. So now we will get, Windows Assembly version's a funky name for it. We will get a 4-part version. Really? Yeah, it's a 4-part version. Yes, that's what this is doing. Windows Assembly version is like what it's used for here, but I think it's then also used here. Yeah, let's rename this to 4-part version. Get 4-part version. Yeah, get 4-part version. That's what this is all about. All right, great. 4-part version goes in here, 4-part version now in here. This generate application manifest. This is the Windows Assembly version. That's great. That is a good name for that variable. Update burn resources now. This is going to be called the 4-part version. There we go. Great. All right. So now we have the bundle as a 4-part version. And then we have this. All right, so while we're waiting for everything to build, I mentioned this problem where the version resource information has both a file version and a product version. And the product version requires to be a version resource. Now down here, we also have the strings for file version and product version. And so I'm guessing that they are stored in different places in the version resource. What the? Come on. All right, that was weird. What? Oh, how did I get up in the search? All right, semicolon. All right. Oh, I hit Control. That's what I did. I hit Control, comma, and then yeah. Okay. Anyway, so version resources have a file version or product version. And I've never had great guidance on how they should change or be different from each other. In a bundle case, we're just going to make them the same because that's what we do at the end. And then we have the string one. So I'm curious what happens when we do a build here, which we should be able to do pretty soon. CD source wix. I'm going to just kick a build back here. Import dev 17, please, and then build. I'm curious, when you have both the file version, product version, product version, what shows up in File Explorer for all these numbers? So I'm gonna do a build here once we get this example extension built, which is what the command line build is gonna do for me here real quick. Do a couple tests and see if we can run our way down. Oh, can build a package with a bind variable. Oh, all right, that's fine. All those error messages. that's interesting. Okay. Did I pick up some changes that I didn't think I brought up? All right. Well, let's see. That's a package. I want to go build a bundle. What is this one saying? Oh, that's an interesting one. I don't know why that one's failing. That's kind of interesting. All right. So it's like we're dumping the version. It's just disappearing. Oh, right? Yeah, so here's the version number on the exe package payload, and we've lost it. All right, that must have been some change that I'm not remembering now. That's like waiting for code to be fixed up is probably the case that we left off. So I have to go back and fix up that code. So let's see. What do I want to do next? I guess I need to do that first. Yeah, let's go fix that. Exe, no. Payload harvester, is that the thing that it was before? Oh yeah, Sean, right. Sean says same thing. Get payload file information. And here we get the string version. Ah, right. So if the string is version, then we try to build it back up from these things. All right, let's just run on down here. Always, that's the file information. Get payload information. Let's run this test or debug it. Easy. All right, the file path is that. So our version info is not null, and we have the file version is that. Okay. Version of the product info is fine. If it is null, then follow. All right. So we use the product version, then we use the file version. Fine. If it is empty, oh, what? That's really strange. All right. This logic is all busted. What did I do? So that. Payload. Okay. Payload version equals version. That was strange. Version equals that. Right? ToString that. And this version is that. Great. How strange that it would fall all the way through. Okay. Let's want to make sure that I'm getting the right value now. Okay, that was easy. That version number gets set to that, and it's off to the races. Okay, so now let's look. What's the problem here? Wix package burn into pod version. Download URL is fine. The hashes are different? No. The size are the same. Oh, what? The product version is okay. One here, sorry, this is really small. This says 3.14.1703, and this is 3.14.0.1703. So somebody's wrong. Let's go debug this, and we'll look at the actual file and all that kind of stuff. So version info, what do we have here? We have the file version is 3.14.1703, and the product version is 3.14.703, 0, product build, major part, private part, which I guess is revision. No, wait. Major, minor, okay. Oh, here we go. Major, minor, private, build. So the file version is that string, but the version resources, what the, is different? Is this the difference between the string and the numeric version? Oh, that's weird. The reason this is particularly interesting because we grabbed this binary out of Wix 3.14 just as something that has a version number. And it looks like we're setting the version numbers differently. Okay, for the number, the numeric versus the version. How to say? The code we're just looking at, where we're setting the numeric version or the version resource to a number and then also to a string. It looks like Wix 3 may be messing that up, or something. But the answer is now that 1703 is actually, all right, let's look at the binary. Okay, right. Let's go grab that exact binary that it's looking at, this file path. Go open this test folder. There we go. And this is the bundle we're looking at. Look at its properties and its details. All right. Yeah. File version and product version are different. Huh. That is interesting. I think this is, so I think this is the Wix toolset. In Wix 3, the funny thing is you created that bug. I don't know. I think in Wix 3, this is us, we're playing games with the minor version, where we put the minor version, sorry, not the minor version, the build number. We play games in Wix 3 where we put the build number for files because of the Windows installer. The Windows installer requires the build number to be in the third part. Look above number 4919. I don't know, really. So that's interesting. All right, is this a bug number for Wix? Let's see. Sean's got a bug that he's thinking of here. So let's see, Wix toolset, issues, 4919. The native version of the resource. Oh, yeah, okay. Of the tools does not match your version. Yes, so, right. This is the exact same thing that, all right, I was about to tell the story. Here it is in the Wix 4 version. All right, so the issue is that in Wix 3, to build the MSI, we have to use 3 parts of the number, the build number. But to support like 3.14, we wanted to have a 0 here, because it's not, yeah. We push this number up here in the setup to make sure it works correctly for MSIs being built. What I didn't know was that we were doing something in the product version in the bundle, which doesn't care about to move this number around. So why we can do this 4-part version and bundles will handle it correctly, 3.14, 0, 1703 as a version upgrades, and everything will work just great. MSI, of course, will not see a higher than 1703 number as a new version because it's only going to look at the first 3. So in Wix 3, we do a game where we bring this number up into this spot. And the part that's confused me is I didn't think we did that, or I didn't know we did it for bundles as well. And then I didn't know that we did this, and I haven't gone back in Wix 3 in so long to go figure out where that's I didn't think we played games with that for the bundle. I thought the bundle just would have, well, it should look like the product version, not like the file version. The file version is what I expect to see in MSI, is not what I expect to see in the bundle. How curious am I? I'm not that curious right now. I'm a little curious. This is all weird because it's like we grabbed this Wix 3. We probably should just create a version file, but it's good to get the difference. All right, so It's also interesting that we're switching from file version to product version. What does, shoot, I didn't, all right, let's get this. What does file version say the number is? No, it says the same thing. So it's the string numbers that are the same. The string version numbers are correct. It's the file, the numeric versions that are, the actual numeric versions are different. Okay. Product 3, 14, 1703, 0. Yep. So there's the numeric version of it. Yep. That's probably, well, that's the difference. I wonder if this will create problems for people upgrading from Wix 3, if they'll even notice. All right. Version numbers are harvested from during bundle backend build. I have to think through. I mean, it allows us to use much more flexible versions by using the strings first, but it does have this implication that if those numbers are different, then you're going to get, well, you're going to get different values, which is exactly what's happening here. So if I fix the number to the product version, it goes to the end. All right, let's see how far. Yeah, maybe, man, I really do want to go dig into Wix 3 now. And then this is going to be the same because it's using the same file. Yep, same thing, different test, slightly different test. It's the signed file instead of the normal file. Huh. Oh, cab doesn't have a version number on it. I just like, All right, that's it. It's eating at me enough that I want to go dig into it a little bit. Let's see if I could find, let's see if we can find where this is happening in the Wix 3 code. Because it's just kind of like, really? Oh, wait, I grabbed the burn stub. This is the burn stub that I grabbed, not a bundle, not the built bundle. Okay, so right. That gives us this right. Measurement, right, there it is. Product version, that version, and then what is this set to? For file, okay, so what we're looking at is the resource file for Wix 3 that gets built into all of the exes. So in Wix 3, you can see we built major, minor. These names, you're like, what is RMJ, RMM, and RUP? I can't tell you. This comes from my days back in Office. That's how far back this goes. So we're talking 1999. And this is like major, I think. This is minor version, and then this is update version, I think. This is the way they did it in Office. And we've carried it forever with these names, forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. Doesn't matter. These are defines. They get set to whatever the build version is and all that kind of stuff. So in the case of 3.14, it's 3.14 and then whatever our build number is. Yeah. Anyway, so this though, where does this get set? So I have to go find, where did this get set? Well, that's the one. It gets set to the full build version. Okay, so then now we're deep in the guts of the Wix 3 build. The full build gets set to, yeah, see, it gets set to build version, minor, build revision, build number. Okay, so awesome. This all makes complete sense now in Wix 3. This is the way Wix 3 built its versions. You can question whether it was the best way to do it, but it's definitely, everything is as it should be. 3.14, the build number, and then this gets set to 3.14.0, the build number, because we had the ability to do, a little bit's coming back to me. We did I think it was 3.10 was the first time we did it. We did a 3.10.1 and a 3.10.2 and a 3.10.3. I don't know. We did a very tiny little fix release. So it's not even a minor fix. It's just a follow-up fix. And I think that's, and we didn't want to say this was 3.11 for this tiny fix. It was we goofed 3.10 and here's a tiny little fix. So we wanted a 3.10.1, and for it to show up in the strings, we did this. But because the whole system was based off of the version numbers, we could not put this build number, we couldn't switch this around, because then suddenly our 3.14.1703.0 is now 3.14.0.1703, and it won't upgrade. It's too low. So we had to keep our build number, which was the date, is a synthesis of the date. So every day we would build, you'd get a newer version. We couldn't switch it around. This is the history of it. So we got a cosmetic fix by changing the way the version minor build worked, but then we had the correct version, or the necessary version, in the major minor that. All right. Whew. Talk about trip down memory lane, complexities for backwards compatibility, and marketing, I guess is the other way to put it. Okay. All right. So that's why 3 does what it does. I think you're being too kind. It was purposely breaking and we missed this. It was purposely breaking. I don't know why it was purposely breaking. Okay. But I think it was fine. It was a long way around, long time ago. Okay, let's see. So, all right. So invalid product version. This product versions must have a major, less than that, minor that. Okay. So this is us not updating that. We required people to uninstall early versions to make it work. Oh, of the bundle? Maybe because the bundle changed? No, I don't remember. It's too long ago. I don't remember that. All right, well, let's see. What is the problem here? Package with, all right, let's just bring this. Which test is this? Instead of trying to guess. Build with bind variables. All right, let's look at this guy with bind variables. Test data, package with bind variables, bind variables, package with bind variables. So this in the version, we have a bind variable. Oh, and it's a file version, test binary file. Okay. And we are building, this is a package. All right, great. So we're building an MSI. And this is the check, right? Of course. Okay. So the issue is we have this check that's getting this string, which is busted. And this is when building MSIs. So we need to go look at the bind database command, I think. And the invalid product, yeah, this. So the verify version. Verify version was attempted to be done very early in this process, which works fine if the symbols have already been updated. But we do this interesting thing where we will process all the files. As we process the files, we'll pull their version information, things like that, and make those available as bind variables, which is a very cool way of setting your version number to a file that's inside your build. But that process is not done right away, so this verify version needs to move. And it needs to move to the point after we get all of those files processed. So there's the file facades. I'm looking for the delayed update file facades. If there are any delayed fields, resolve. Boom. Update text from text files, add create folders. Yep, so it's one of those. Wrong button. Control it. All right. This is my book part for the verified version. Drop down here. Delayed fields are processed. Validate the package module version. All right. Nope. Still not good enough. Whoa, wait. Why do I have no color? Okay, I was gonna say these colors aren't updating yet in nCrunch. It's still running that test. What? It says the failure didn't come through here? Wait a minute. It didn't. What am I missing? This is building an MSI, right? Build an MSI several times. And then get the version. What am I missing? MSI backend. All right, this should get hit. This is the backend. So when building an MSI, we should hit this point. Oh, are we getting hit the compiler? Oh, yeah. Duh. Come on, Rob, read the message. Specify a 4-port version or semantic version. This is getting hit in the compiler. We're not even that far. So I think, okay, fine. Dang it. I lost my verify version. All right, set a breakpoint here. I almost want to move this back and make sure that it is what I thought it was. So here, package version. Where are we at? Oh, okay. This is going to be, all right. Compiler package. Do we get that down? Version. Yep, there we go. Version. Expected attribute. Okay, it must be here. Maybe. Let's try this. There we go. And this attribute's value is, oh, that's the 255. Oops, I ran the wrong test. Oh, wait. It's getting too late here, guys. Making dumb mistakes. I fixed the test with this change. I'm going to put it back where it was. Was it here? Is close to here. Yeah, okay. Usually, see, this is the thing with nCrunch. Normally, I pin the test to make sure that when I fix it, I see it gets fixed. That way, when I have another test in here that's failing, I don't accidentally think that the test that I just fixed is the test that I think. So it's like, so that I don't think I have anything. Anyway, this test is failing because this was our experimentations with all the different MSI possibilities, and yes, but it's passing because I'm not doing any verification. All right, let's step through this test. I just want to make sure that it's doing what I think it is. Yeah, that's fine. Let's go. All right. Okay, so this is where the test used to be. Package symbol, expect the version to be the moniker. Where is the version? Yep, there it is. It's that. Great. And then when we run, now the package symbol should be replaced. Yep, it's been updated through the delayed fields being resolved. There we go. Boom. Okay. Cool. And then I don't know what to do with this test. I guess I could validate that it fails. Let's see. What is this? Oh, 256 isn't going to pass either, is it? Nope. 255 will, though. All right, I don't know what I want to do with these tests. I'll have to decide what to do. So wait, 255 doesn't pass either? Oh, the dot at the end. There we go. And then that's not a valid version because it has a dot at the end. Okay, whatever. This test is all kinds of not supposed to be passing. I'll have to decide what to do with that one. Nope. That's all the changes we've been making on what to do. Decide what to do with version fixture. Fix toolset dot test dot core dot version fixture. Consider fixing to make negative tests. Yeah. Okay. Wow. Ooh. So we're populating that. I think we can clear those. We're catching all those things now. That is good. What did I want to look at? So if we go back and look at our to-do, last time we left things in a broken state, and now they are working delta the version fixture, which maybe we'll just make them negative tests and keep them, or maybe they should just go because they're nonsensical, or they probably should stay in. Whatever. Okay. A breaking change note. Yeah. Okay. So that's for future documentation type, big documentation things. Entry missing section is just a separate bug unrelated to this. They'll take care. Which then in 16, yeah, nothing happened. Did a lot of work, but nothing came out of it. Just a lot of work. Actually, I think nothing happened. That's when we wrote all the version parsing stuff. All right. So, okay. Now going back to this to-do, when we first started taking lots of pieces apart, created all these things that I knew needed to go back and make sure we had good checks. So one is validate versions in the upgrade table. So we need to go do that. We've done this. This was done in episode. I don't know why I didn't update this before, but there's that. Okay. Dependency custom actions is a thing that I started looking at. We will go into that. Validate patch family use of versions. Yep. Double check error messages. Oh, invalid module or bundle version. Okay, we were just looking at that. I saw that floating around out there. Maybe should go look at the use of that. Okay, sounds great. And implement backend helper of that. And I think that was done in 17, I think. All right. So, given the time we have here, patch family, I'm probably going to save and just open another issue for me to track when I do all of the patching type related stuff, because I'm gonna have to reload a lot of context because patch families end up being all tied into that. And in that context, I need to figure out, do they need to be MSI versions, or can they, it says product version, which must mean they're doing something. I need to go in and actually verify whether they need to be product versions or if they can be more open if they're just an MSI construct. I just have to go back and load a lot of context to figure that one out. So I think we'll go ahead and we'll go run down invalid module or bundle version everywhere, since that's kind of a goofy error message now. Make sure we get that right. And then maybe we'll see how much time we have. Go start poking at the upgrade table. And this, the dependency, custom actions, use of version numbers is, I think, what we'll pick up next week, because that'll be an interesting block of work to go do. I only started. You can see here. Oh no, you can't now. Let's close some of these files that I'm not using. I should have. Can I reopen that one? Nope. I want that one back. You can see I started digging into a little bit of poking at it, but we will get back into that one next week, because it's going to take more time than we have here. So let's go do this invalid module bundle version. Let's go search everywhere it's used. So clearly it's in the error messages. It's in the warning message as well. That's probably something I did here along the way. Here it's in the bind database, and then it's in our to-do. Okay, great. So the only place that it's used now is in the bind database command. So let's go ahead and go find that usage. Is valid 4-part version. Didn't we just do this for bundle? Needs to be a valid 4-part version. Because Windows installs. Yes. Oh, okay. Yeah, so valid 4-part versions. Merge modules are not inflicted with the same limitations that MSI product versions are. They're just plain old good old Windows 4-part versions with the maxes. So let's go back and I see it was a warning. Yes, that's the interesting part. All right, I'm just thinking out loud here. If we go look at our burn backend warnings, right? We added the cannot parse bundle version as 4-part version. And this is a warning because we then fix it up. Here, we cannot parse it as a 4-part version. It has to be a 4-part version of modules. So here we want it as an error message. And we can't make, we'd have to duplicate it, which is fine. We can duplicate it. The question then is, should this message, cannot parse a bundle version's 4-part version, should we make it generic and say cannot parse yada yada as a 4-part version and make all this stuff generic? Or do we make it specific to the 2 separate backends where this then is invalid module version, and we just pull out all the differences, and we pull it out of Wix toolset.data, because it's going to have to be duplicated one way or another. So we could have invalid 4-part version number, invalid 4-part version as part of data. The tricky part then is that it's available both as an error message and a warning message. And we don't normally do that. We don't normally have error messages and warning messages for things, or for the same thing. But maybe of invalid 4-part version is useful to have as both a warning and an error message. It's certainly more generic. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, you know what? I think I'm going to, because I'm hesitant to have because we have, as far as I know, no other messages that are both error and warning. I'm hesitant to have them both available as error and warnings. Certainly not with the same ID. I guess I could give them different IDs, and that would alleviate that problem where I'm worried about us not realizing one's an error and warning and pulling in the wrong one. Or I can just continue down the Windows. Where am I here? Bind database command. Windows installer backend errors, and we could just add it here and make it specific to invalid module version, much like this says. Invalid module version. Module version was not able to be used. Invalid module version. Now it's a very specific error message for this thing, even though the message is about 4-part versions, but yeah, I don't know. Should it be a generic available to everybody? Or is this the right way to do it? I don't know. It doesn't matter a huge amount because they'll get different numbers in the end anyway. All right. If we go look at error messages, then we will find this there. I keep going back and forth. I can't decide. Warning message. Oh, yeah, I did. I had to. Yeah, this one's not used at all. Yeah. This is the question. Should it be duplicated? This would be invalid. Oh, it's weird. The highlighting is very weird when I've already searched for invalid 4-part version. It's available both as a warning message and it is. I don't know how to feel about that. I guess that's what we were doing before. Error messages. To make this even more useful, we could do decisions. You know what? I'm gonna sleep on this one. I'm gonna sleep on this one for 6 days. I'm gonna be back in a week. I'm gonna take some time off, get away for a while, come back, try to jump on the stream, and then try to dig out of all the email that I'll have when I get back, and all that kind of good stuff. So yeah, I think we're gonna leave it right here with this open question invalid 4-part version. Where did my window go? Oh, to do, right here. Decide what to do about in now called error messages / warning messages, now called keep it, or use special back specific error warning messages. Don't know. That's the thing to think about. Be back in 7 days. Until then, you guys keep coding. You know I am. Bye.